Dinar Shift listeners, prepare yourselves for an exclusive, in-depth exploration of the forces currently reshaping Iraq's economic landscape, its currency trajectory, and its positioning on the global stage. This is not just another update, it's a powerful analysis that connects the dots between monumental infrastructure projects, crucial government policy signals, deep international financial integration efforts, and the latest commentary circulating within the financial community. We're witnessing a real-time transformation of Iraq's economy, where the pace of change is accelerating, and the strategic decisions being made at the highest levels are setting the stage for what comes next. These developments represent concrete steps taken by the government regarding critical reforms, the urgent diversification of its revenue sources, and the long-term potential of the nation's financial future. Whether you have been closely monitoring the Iraqi dinar for years, are a newcomer intrigued by global currency dynamics, or simply follow the intersection of geopolitics and economics, this report is packed with information that cuts through the speculation to focus purely on verifiable facts. We aim to deliver a clear, actionable understanding of these complex issues, revealing why the latest updates are arguably the most significant and compelling we have encountered in recent memory, making the bigger picture of Iraq's ambitious goals impossible to overlook. The Republic of Iraq has quietly but firmly taken another substantial step toward its goal of deeper and more meaningful integration within the established framework of global financial and trade systems. Top government officials have recently placed a spotlight on the active discussions underway to advance the nation toward full and recognized membership in the World Customs Organization, a move that holds immense, if understated, significance. Joining this global body is fundamentally about more than just a bureaucratic checkbox. It's a commitment to adhering to international standards for customs compliance, robust data-sharing protocols, and streamlined border efficiency. These operational benchmarks are the foundational pillars of modern high-volume international trade and are absolutely critical for fostering cross-border financial transparency. A transition from Iraq's previous status of partial cooperation to one of full active engagement is a clear, unmistakable signal of its readiness and determination to participate in higher-level trading partnerships and adopt modern, universally accepted economic methodologies. Iraqi officials have been resolute in their messaging, emphasizing that the necessary technical and policy standards required by global organizations are not merely being discussed, but are already in the process of rigorous, systematic implementation across various sectors. This kind of systemic shift is highly complex, and far from accidental, it demands comprehensive changes in national policy, the development and execution of extensive training programs for personnel, the adoption of new, sophisticated technology, and, crucially, a unified long-term economic strategy across all government branches. The public affirmation from high-ranking leaders that Iraq is rapidly progressing towards securing active membership should serve as a wake-up call for all global observers. It acts as another powerful confirmation that the country is strategically positioning itself to operate within a more transparent, predictable, and internationally recognized financial ecosystem. While the act of joining a customs organization may seem routine, the resulting operational, economic, and reputational dividend can be truly transformative, solidifying this effort as a pivotal building block for all future, broader financial reforms. Turning our attention to the intense internal discussions regarding the Iraqi dinar's exchange rate framework, a significant point of commentary continues to circulate within the enthusiast community. According to a persistent thread of conversation, there has been mention that the nation's current official rate, pegged at 1,310 dinars to the US dollar, might potentially be set to conclude its tenure as the year draws to a close in December. This rumor invariably sparks widespread excitement, fervent speculation, and heightened anticipation among those closely tracking the currency. However, it is fundamentally critical that responsible voices within the community continuously preach a message of objective analysis, urging everyone to remain grounded in verifiable information and to resist the urge to allow emotional anticipation to fuel unrealistic or speculative expectations about future outcomes. The nature of these complex financial decisions requires a level head and a commitment to patience above all else. It is paramount for all interested parties to maintain a clear-eyed perspective, recognizing that profound national economic decisions of this magnitude originate solely from official high-level institutions, such as the Central Bank of Iraq, the Ministry of Finance, and formal government policy directives. They are never born out of unconfirmed community rumors, regardless of how confidently or strongly those opinions are expressed within social circles. Nonetheless, the very existence and widespread nature of these specific discussions reflect a broader underlying consensus that the Iraqi government is, in fact, engaged in a proactive, deep-seated adjustment of its entire financial architecture in preparation for its next phase of economic management. While it is impossible for anyone outside the most senior official leadership to definitively declare specific timelines or guaranteed outcomes, the overarching message from serious commentary continues to encourage profound patience, a commitment to dispassionate, level-headed analysis, and a clear understanding that such intricate national transitions require both rigorous discipline and absolute clarity of purpose from the governing authorities. A monumental update concerning Iraq's overarching national development strategy has recently captured global headlines, specifically marked by the successful inauguration of the first fully completed segment of the colossal development road project. This project is far more than a simple infrastructure investment or an ordinary highway expansion. It is explicitly conceived as a grand strategic trade and logistics corridor. Its eventual purpose is to provide a vital, high-capacity link connecting the Arabian Gulf, running through Iraq and terminating at the border with Turkey, thereby creating an integrated conduit to Europe and the broader international marketplace. By successfully launching this initial operational 63-kilometer stretch, Iraq is broadcasting an undeniably powerful and tangible message to the entire world of global investors, as well as its strategic regional partners. The message is simple, yet profound. Progress is not merely an abstract concept in the planning phase, it is an undeniable reality unfolding on the ground. For years, the Development Road Project has been consistently described by economic analysts as a potential economic game-changer for Iraq, a genuine transformational effort. Its core mission is strategically designed to cement Iraq's position as a major regional logistics and commercial hub, a move that is absolutely essential for drastically reducing the nation's deep, long-standing reliance on traditional oil revenue and fundamentally strengthening its overall role within complex regional supply chains. The official opening of this inaugural segment is not just a ceremonial event. It serves as a powerful demonstration of Iraq's national capability, its clearly defined intention, and its unwavering long-term commitment to its economic future. It signifies to the international community that Iraq is fully determined to diversify its economy, aggressively modernize its infrastructure, and actively compete in the 21st century global trade environment. With each subsequent section that is brought to completion, Iraq inches closer to forging a new and robust economic identity, one that is strategically built upon the foundational pillars of international trade, seamless connectivity, and long-term financial stability that can withstand external shocks. In a recent and notable financial update that garnered significant analytical attention, observers have pointed out a subtle but highly meaningful shift in Iraq's fiscal composition. The nation's overwhelming reliance on oil revenue to fund its national budget has reportedly decreased to approximately the 90% threshold. While this figure clearly demonstrates that the dependence remains exceptionally high, it nonetheless represents genuine and measurable progress when viewed against the backdrop of historical dependency levels, which have frequently hovered at 94%, 95%, or even higher percentages. This gradual reduction in oil dependency is a crucial indicator suggesting that Iraq is actively and successfully developing nascent additional revenue streams, participating more vigorously in non-oil sectors such as customs and tourism, and steadily improving its overall sophistication in fiscal planning and budgetary management. Such diversification is fundamentally significant because national economies that are intensely tied to the fortunes of a single commodity, like crude oil, are inherently more vulnerable to sudden and dramatic economic shocks and volatility. The painful lesson of history is clear: when global oil prices swing unpredictably, either rising or falling sharply, national budgets built on oil can swiftly become unstable, and the trajectory of economic growth can abruptly stagnate, making long-term planning almost impossible. The fact that the Iraqi government is deliberately and slowly managing to reduce this profound dependency is a powerful testament to an intentional and strategic drive toward economic diversification. Although the nation clearly has a considerable journey ahead before achieving true fiscal balance, the established direction of travel is undeniably positive and constructive. If Iraq continues to expand its international trade activities, diligently build out its non-oil infrastructure, strategically invest in sectors like tourism, agriculture, and industry, and foster technological advancement, its budget will inevitably gain much-needed stability and depth over time. This foundational strengthening is essential to underpinning stronger, more resilient long-term financial outcomes for the entire nation and its populace. Recent high-level discussions have shed light on the intensely debated long-standing monetary concept known within the community as deleting the zeros. Reports indicate that influential officials within Iraq's financial committees have formally advised the central bank to temporarily postpone the actual implementation of such a significant currency restructuring measure. The reasoning behind this cautious stance is rooted in the need to achieve greater clarity and stability regarding specific regional issues, particularly those complex matters connected to the broader geopolitical, political, and economic relationships with its influential neighbor, Iran, until firm agreements or resolutions are successfully reached. The Delete the Zeros project has been a subject of conversation for many years, often becoming obscured by misunderstandings and frequently enveloped in layers of unsubstantiated rumor. In the practical reality of national economic governance, these types of fundamental monetary policy adjustments demand precise timing, a significant degree of geopolitical certainty, and extremely strong coordinated planning between all key government and central bank branches when external regional tensions are palpable, especially involving neighboring countries that wield major political and economic influence over the regional dynamics. Leading economists almost universally advocate for the delay of sensitive, far-reaching monetary shifts. This deliberate pause is taken to guarantee that no unexpected, destabilizing shock is introduced into the domestic economy or the currency markets. Regardless of whether this current pause ultimately signifies future forward momentum for the project, the underlying message conveyed by the policymakers is strikingly clear and consistent. Iraq is determined to ensure that all conditions, economic, political, and regional, are stable, highly predictable, and perfectly aligned before it moves forward with making any significant structural alterations to its national currency's basic architecture or its perceived market value. This careful approach prioritizes stability over speed, a hallmark of responsible, long-term economic stewardship in a complex environment. Another central point that has recently sparked significant discussion and analysis involves authoritative reports suggesting that the next significant monetary regime adopted by Iraq may eventually incorporate a form of a managed float exchange rate system. A managed float is a sophisticated mechanism where the currency's value is neither rigidly fixed to a single rate, as in a hard peg, nor left entirely to the volatile, unconstrained forces of the free market. Instead, it is allowed to fluctuate dynamically, but strictly within controlled, predefined, and heavily supervised boundaries that are actively determined and enforced by the Central Bank of Iraq. The very fact that such detailed discussions are now being openly and publicly mentioned by official sources represents a crucial shift in both policy tone and overall transparency, a move intended to educate and prepare the public. Managed float regimes are typically employed by nations that are in the delicate and complex process of transitioning toward more flexible and market-responsive monetary environments. This is particularly true when a country strategically anticipates a substantial increase in international trade volume, a surge in foreign direct investment, or a much deeper participation in international financial markets. Should Iraq eventually proceed with the adoption of a managed float, it would signify a much higher level of sophistication in its national currency management practices, and, equally important, suggest a fundamental and growing confidence in the resilience and stability of its underlying economic fundamentals. As with all major national policy shifts, any such eventual transition would necessitate institutional readiness, comprehensive, supportive legislation, and a highly structured, well-planned public communication strategy designed to educate both citizens and global financial markets about the change and its implications. Even the mere public mention of this concept is substantial, as it clearly exposes the forward-thinking direction being actively considered by Iraqi policymakers for the nation's economic future. The conversation has naturally extended to encompass the intricate topic of tax considerations for individuals who may one day exchange Iraqi dinar, should a significant positive adjustment in the official exchange rate occur. Various commentators have brought up the theoretical idea that individuals might have options on how to classify such potential income for tax purposes, perhaps as ordinary personal income or, under specific qualifying circumstances, as more favorable capital gains. This potential classification choice would be entirely dependent on the specific verifiable facts and legal jurisdiction of each individual's situation. Other discussions have highlighted the potential utility of advanced tax planning structures, such as charitable remainder trusts, which could theoretically offer both specific tax benefits and the mechanism for deferred payouts of funds over extended periods of time, helping to manage large transactions. It must be stated as a matter of absolute and crucial responsibility that individuals must consult exclusively with licensed, accredited tax professionals who are familiar with international and local law when contemplating any complex financial decisions, especially those involving currency holdings, the establishment of trusts, or large-scale financial transactions, while these highly detailed and often complex discussions circulating in the community are certainly interesting and illustrate the high level of dedicated, forward-thinking planning being undertaken by many, the most responsible and ethical guidance remains an unwavering recommendation to always seek personalized, legally binding advice. This advice must be firmly based on verified national and international tax laws, not on assumptions, predictions, or generalized community commentary. Nevertheless, the very existence of such focused conversations reflects the serious, high level of interest and active planning that segments of the community are currently engaging in, as they carefully consider various potential future financial scenarios involving the currency. It highlights a community that is deeply engaged not just with the currency's value, but with the practical, real-world implications of any potential future change, underscoring the seriousness of the overall discourse. When financial experts analyze Iraq's deliberate path toward deeper integration with established global financial systems, they frequently underscore the rapidly growing importance of interconnectivity and the adoption of modern, universal technical standards. Key elements in this push include the seamless implementation of modern payment networks, robust and rapid communication protocols, and the adoption of internationally standardized financial messaging formats, such as the crucial ISO 20022 standard. These technical protocols are absolutely essential for guaranteeing that large-volume financial transactions can move smoothly, transparently, and securely across international borders, a fundamental requirement for any credible global economy. Iraq's active adoption, or even its systematic preparation to adopt, these sophisticated global standards indicates an extremely strong and determined institutional push toward comprehensive financial modernization and crucial international compatibility. These upgraded systems provide the essential plumbing that enables commercial banks, major financial institutions, and global trading partners to communicate much more efficiently and with greater security, dramatically reducing the potential for costly errors, significantly bolstering efforts to prevent fraudulent activity, and materially streamlining complex international settlement procedures. As Iraq systematically continues the process of strengthening its economic and financial infrastructure, these technical upgrades cease to be optional nice-to-haves and become utterly essential requirements for functioning in the modern world. Regardless of whether they result in direct, immediate changes to the currency's value, they unquestionably support the creation of a much more modern, stable, and globally recognized financial environment. Indeed, the successful implementation of these technical standards is one of the most important ingredients any emerging nation requires when it is actively preparing for profound economic integration and striving to build serious, long-term international credibility in the eyes of the world's financial community. A recent, recurring theme in community commentary involves expressions of genuine gratitude for the presence and assistance of various foreign advisors and international political teams who are currently working on the ground within Iraq. A widespread belief exists among observers that these vital partnerships and sustained diplomatic interactions are playing a crucial, supportive role in helping to accelerate the complex process of national reforms, significantly improving the efficacy of government operations and moving large-scale infrastructure projects more efficiently toward their successful completion. The dominant sentiment conveyed is that international cooperation and expertise are RVing as a critical advisory foundation, actively supporting Iraq as it navigates the difficult waters of financial restructuring, necessary economic upgrades, and the management of ambitious multi-billion-dollar infrastructure programs. These types of collaborative international relationships are invaluable, as they frequently help nations strengthen their core institutions, elevate levels of transparency and accountability, and facilitate the swift adoption of established global best practices in governance and finance. While the specific interpretation of these diplomatic relationships may naturally vary depending on different political viewpoints, the broader, more important message is that Iraq is actively maintaining robust, working relationships with key global partners. These partners are playing a constructive role in advising and supporting the nation's profound, long-term development efforts and goals. Fundamentally, the more that Iraq can demonstrably improve its governance standards and achieve rock-solid institutional stability, the greater the confidence that international investors, global corporations, and major financial markets will feel when contemplating substantial, long-term engagement with the country's economy in the years to come. The steady accumulation of all these updates, from the tangible success of infrastructure accomplishments to the detailed internal policy discussions, paints a clear, powerful picture of a nation committed to genuine structural transformation. It is absolutely essential to recognize and understand that progress in a country with Iraq's historical and geopolitical complexity rarely, if ever, follows a perfectly straight or easily predictable path. The journey is naturally characterized by periods of rapid, noticeable movement interspersed with moments of necessary delay, and complicated by times when complex political factors inevitably influence the precise timing of sensitive decisions. Yet, despite these inherent challenges and the occasional setbacks, the steady underlying pattern of modernization remains persistent and undeniable. Each new infrastructure project, every financial system upgrade, and every international collaboration effort meticulously adds another critical layer to Iraq's increasingly stable long-term economic foundation. Savvy, professional observers who meticulously track these developments understand that even seemingly small technical steps, such as subtle upgrades in customs compliance procedures or the implementation of minor improvements in interbank communication standards, can and do hold major, long-term significance when the goal is the construction of a large, deeply interconnected, and fully modern national economy. As dedicated viewers of Dinar Shift continue to follow these weekly and monthly updates, the consistent reality becomes profoundly clear. The government of Iraq is strategically and diligently working on multiple, major fronts simultaneously. They are not focused on a single issue, but are building massive integrated transportation networks, meticulously refining their national budget structure, actively adjusting their revenue dependencies away from oil, strategically coordinating with powerful international organizations, and vigorously debating the future framework of their own monetary policy. This multi-track approach to national progress reflects a nation that is resolutely striving to break free from old, established economic patterns and actively build a much more sustainable, diversified, and secure future for its citizens. Whether the immediate discussion revolves around the potential future value of the national currency, the strategic alignment with international financial bodies, or the urgent need for broad economic diversification, one central theme emerges and recurs with unwavering consistency. Iraq is determined to take decisive control of its own financial destiny and is no longer content to simply react to external events. That profound national desire is clearly visible in the major policies they implement, the public speeches delivered by their leaders, and the tangible, high-profile project launches they celebrate. And the entire world of global finance is watching this strategic evolution with intense interest. From a critical, long-term strategic perspective, one of the most powerful and meaningful indicators of Iraq's future potential lies in the bold scope of its infrastructure strategy. The Colossal Development Road project, in particular, possesses the transformative capacity to fundamentally reshape not just the nation's domestic logistics and transportation network, but also the entire map of regional and international trade routes that flow through the Middle East. If Iraq can successfully execute its plan and establish itself as a central, indispensable transportation and commercial hub, one that effectively and efficiently links Europe, Turkey, and the vital economies of the Gulf region, its entire economic structure could shift dramatically and permanently. This new status could lead to a massive surge in trade fees, commercial shipping activity, infrastructure-driven tourism, the development of new warehousing and industrial zones, and a major influx of foreign direct investment. These types of multi-sector spillover effects, where investment in one area catalyzes growth in many others, are exactly what professional economists look for when they are identifying a nation that is structurally prepared and ready to fundamentally diversify and grow its economy beyond a singular, risky reliance on oil dependency. Crucially, with the initial, fully operational section of the Development Road project now officially opened for business, the fundamental groundwork for this transformation is no longer a theoretical concept drawn on a blueprint. It has transitioned into real, verifiable, tangible progress, giving weight to all future claims. Simultaneously, sophisticated financial observers are continuing their diligent monitoring of the country's monetary signal patterns. Whether they are analyzing the concept of a managed float, the future exchange rate frameworks, or the comprehensive modernization of core banking systems, the overarching, consistent theme that unites all these discussions is one of deliberate, meticulous preparation. Iraq is not simply talking about change, it is physically and systematically upgrading the very plumbing of its entire financial system, overhauling communication standards, modernizing settlement protocols, strengthening its international compliance structures, and deepening its overall global connectivity. These foundational core upgrades are universally recognized in the financial world as the actions that are typically undertaken before any major financial transition, not hastily cobbled together afterward. While this methodical process does not in any way constitute a prediction of any specific future event or precise timeline, it provides an unequivocal, powerful indication that the country is actively and purposefully preparing itself for the demands of a more sophisticated, globalized economic environment. With each passing fiscal quarter, more of these essential, complex pieces are clearly falling into their strategic place. However, geopolitical considerations remain an undeniable key factor in the timing of any major financial shift. The surrounding regional stability, the maintenance of constructive diplomatic relationships with powerful neighboring countries, and the ongoing broader international negotiations all play a profound and direct role in influencing the necessary timing of highly sensitive monetary decisions. Iraq is situated in a politically complex and dynamic part of the world, and any truly significant national economic move must be carefully calibrated and aligned with overarching security concerns, specific diplomatic objectives, and critical international trade considerations to avoid unintended consequences. Policymakers are tasked with navigating complex internal government dynamics, powerful external diplomatic pressures, and the constant expectations of global economic markets simultaneously. This challenging environment is precisely why sustained patience is required from all observers. Successful and lasting transitions rely on achieved stability and careful execution, not simply on unbridled speed. The more stable and predictable the entire region becomes, the more easily Iraq will be able to pursue and execute bold, long-term financial decisions with minimal risk. Simultaneously, a notable positive development is the trend toward more direct and increased transparency in public communication from key government leaders. When officials openly discuss complex technical topics, such as the potential adoption of a managed float or the intricacies of economic modernization plans, it is a deliberate strategy to ensure that citizens are informed, understand the necessity of the changes, and can prepare themselves for future transitions. This kind of consistent, clear public communication is essential because it is the most effective way to build and sustain public trust and drastically reduce widespread confusion during times of financial change. When the citizens of a country trust the actions and institutions of their economic leaders, reforms are almost always executed more smoothly and with greater societal buy. These deliberate public statements also serve the dual purpose of effectively managing expectations while clearly signaling the intended direction that the government is strategically moving toward. In the realm of national economic policy, clarity of purpose and communication is frequently just as important as the precise execution of the policies themselves. Looking at the immense tapestry of events from a truly panoramic perspective, Iraq's ongoing economic journey is much more than simply a story about a currency's potential value or a shifting exchange rate. It is fundamentally a powerful narrative about the forging of a new national identity. It is a story about the arduous process of rebuilding critical national infrastructure, meticulously establishing institutional credibility, systematically strengthening core governmental bodies, and ultimately proving to the international community that Iraq is fully prepared to function reliably and predictably as a major influential economic player in the modern world. The truly incredible progress on the massive development road project, the tangible, detailed steps taken toward customs integration with global bodies, and the comprehensive modernization of its core financial systems, all point toward a nation that is systematically laying down a deep, unshakable foundation for a much more prosperous and resilient future. Observers who specifically track long-term structural trends recognize that these changes are not cosmetic or superficial. They are profound and structural in nature. One of the most essential takeaways from the entirety of this comprehensive report is the firm realization that Iraq is currently moving with a clear sense of calculated purpose and a coherent national strategy, not merely in response to random immediate events. Every single decision made, whether it involves the cautious delay of a complex monetary reform or the celebrated launch of a new infrastructure segment, is an integrated part of a much larger, cohesive national plan designed to stabilize, modernize, and sustainably grow the national economy. For the leadership of Iraq, the national stakes are exceptionally high. The country is relentlessly focused on the critical goals of creating widespread employment opportunities, successfully attracting significant global investment, and elevating its long-term financial standing among nations. Every single step taken toward modernization, increased transparency, and global alignment brings the country measurably closer to the ultimate realization of that ambitious, shared national goal. As we continue to monitor the future flow of updates, it remains absolutely vital for all of us to maintain the crucial discipline of effectively separating the constant background noise of speculation from the substance of real, tangible progress. Not every single rumor that circulates, regardless of its source, accurately reflects the current reality, and certainly not every confident prediction will ultimately come to pass. However, the concrete, verifiable actions of the government, the specific projects that have been launched, the national policies that are actively being implemented, the universally recognized standards that are being adopted, and the core systems that are being upgraded, collectively, tell a powerful, consistent, and undeniable story. That story is one of slow, often challenging, but ultimately steady and determined. National transformation. As Iraq continues to build upon this foundational momentum, the world's most powerful financial community is paying closer and closer attention to every move, recognizing the scale of the strategic shift underway. For all members of the Dinar Shift community, it is paramount that you remain disciplined in your analysis, commit to patience, and prioritize being consistently and accurately informed by official sources and verifiable facts. Major, structural economic transitions across entire nations never occur rapidly or without significant challenges. But they do inevitably happen when a country demonstrates the commitment to meticulously lay the foundational groundwork, step by verifiable step, year after year. The signs of this foundational progress are now pervasive and impossible to ignore, evident in the growth of core infrastructure, the increase in substantive international cooperation, the evolution of sophisticated monetary policy discussions, and the clear improvement in national fiscal strategies. Even when navigating the inherent complexities of its regional political environment, Iraq is demonstrably moving forward with purpose. In the coming months and quarters, all dedicated observers can fully expect to witness even more pivotal developments as the nation continues the determined process of fundamentally reshaping and modernizing its economic landscape. As we conclude this comprehensive extended report on the forces driving Iraq's future, please remember that the country's economic evolution is a marathon, not a sprint. It is truly only just beginning. With monumental projects like the development road actively underway, with government leaders expressing an unwavering commitment to systematic modernization, and with key global partners offering dedicated, tangible support and expertise, the country is uniquely positioned for significant, long-term structural improvement. The journey ahead will undoubtedly be complex, and the desired results will not be instantaneous, but the strategic direction of travel is unequivocally and unmistakably forward. For everyone who is currently watching Iraq's financial trajectory with keen interest, stay tuned to Dinar Shift because the next defining chapter of this historical transformation is still unfolding, and the foundational pieces of progress we have detailed today may very well play the most defining role in the country's economic future.